Yo everybody, it's Heat-tastic. So let's get to it. Bring the pain! What's up everybody, it's Heat-tastic and I'm ready to bring the pain for you and Dr. Roto this week. Ooh yeah! That was a crazy day yesterday. We got the Cena heel turn finally, and we're here to talk about UFC as well. Also, Bianca definitely pushing over as the women's champ. So we definitely are going to have a great WrestleMania, so stay tuned. Also, you have to be reminded that DraftKings does a lot of pools, wrestling pools. Sometimes they do one, sometimes they do two. They'll at least do one. I definitely see them doing one for WrestleMania. You'll have to tune in. We'll give our picks again. That's what we've been doing for every pay-per-view that DraftKings always offers a pool. So you'll have to go to their betting site, go up to pools, and then you can actually find it right there. Oh yeah, but it's time to bring the pain for another Heat-tastic review. Oh yeah, man, Kape versus Almabayev, man. What a hell of a matchup. I'm just going to get right into it right there, since I'm talking about it, right? So yesterday on the Fight Club of Pain, that was one of three matches we brought up. We brought up that match, of course, the main event. We brought up Ricardo Ramos versus Chepi Mariscal, and then we brought up Hyder Emil versus William Gomez, right? So we'll start off with, of course, the bread and the butter, Kape versus Almabayev. When Dan heard that this was a 5-round match, and he knew that the way, especially over his last few fights, he brought up that Almabayev has been looking a little boring, but still active. If you want to hate me for it, it's whatever. When it comes to when you're being really passive, you throw a few punches, you try to grab, it gets really easy. You could easily set that up, and an opponent will read that. And that being said, that's what Kape did. Kape just read it, and he was just getting in him, and just punch after punch after punch. Not everything would get through, but enough would get through, and then what? And it happened. And then, oh, I gotta say, dude, Almabayev took off running. That was the funniest. I was like, oh, dude, look, he's just running. I was like, run after it, pop. And just as I was thinking that, that's exactly what Kape did. He ran over and he said, pop. And then it was down. It was over. Bam. I said 3 rounds. I said under 3 rounds. So if there was a 2.5, under 2.5 rounds, played that. That bold call came true, as well as the knockout. A lot of people had this fight going the distance. Even the people that are giving you the betting advice on the ESPN app through, the ESPN Plus, they had the girl giving out the bets. Hey, look, some of them were okay, but that one was not. And that shows that, there's no knock on her. It's no knock on me when I get something wrong, or no knock on anybody in this world when we get something wrong. That's why it's called betting. It's gambling. We're taking a chance, and we should be happy that we have that. But the fact that the Fight Club of Pain is now 12-3 over the past 3 weeks of doing bold picks, and for the past 5 weeks, I have been able to put out a DFS lineup on either site or both sites, and there's been a couple of weeks, this week being one of them, that kind of worked out for me and all of you. Because honestly, if you would have been part of it, if you would have been part of drroto.com, not only would you have got that in the subs only Discord, even after Carolina got pulled. And, that was a big part, because again, like I was explaining yesterday with Dan on the Fight Club of Pain, that was a big part of a lot of lineups, because it didn't only just remove her, it removed her opponent. And so when you lose Montana De La Rosa and Luana Carolina, and then Douglas Silva DeAndre, anyway, and John Castaneda. Okay, I just said a whole mouthful. At the same time, when you have all that together and you lose that, and they were all mid-priced about, so you really had to go stars and scrubs, and it worked out for us again. That's what we really try for and we strive for when we do these lineups, and I do these lineups to help. So yesterday, I had a lineup go 528 on DraftKings. That was not the one I gave out, but this was the captain spot. And of course, I went with Brundage because I was huge on Brundage. I mentioned Brundage on my show on Tuesday. So this is why I give you tidbits all week long. Then you hit the bold picks, and you kind of see where we're going. Then you watch the Fight Club of Pain on Saturday, and you get ready for the thing. Now, I understand that the Fight Club of Pain is only happening a few hours before the event, but that's sometimes what happens. That's why everything else is behind the paywall, and at the last second, hey, I show up with, you want some tidbits? I got some tidbits. And believe me, even me, with all those tidbits, forgot to put a lot of bets in on DK. So therefore, I won some bets on DK, but I had to go in after the fact when the numbers were already miscued and as not as good as the ones that I had got on FanDuel the previous week. That being said, the one that did it was Brundage, Murskal, Ribovich, which that was honestly fight of the night. I'll say was Hyder and Mill versus William Gomez. Hey, I'm like, but overall, if you love technical fighting and a lot of punches thrown, it was Hakparas and Ribovich. So, I mean, that fight was awesome. I mean, he lost. Ribovich lost. However, he did not lose exactly what I said. We'll get to that real quick. Because, again, this is a review to show how it did. I'm just being transparent. I'm explaining and I am telling and I'm admitting when I'm wrong and when I'm right. So, what we were right about was we both picked Kape winning, but Dan picked decision, or Dan picked fourth round knockout, still got the knockout. I picked under 2.5, got the knockout. We both got the knockout. So even if you would have went over and you played the fourth round, which I did, which was a plus 1400, it was close. That was worth it. But of course, I played a lot of third round knockouts. We'll go over to Kape Murskal. We both thought that Kape could get the knockout. It just didn't seem like it really worked out. Ramos kept him away with a lot of spinning elbows. At one point, he just kept spinning elbowing him. And it was just wild. And that's just, Kape just kept kind of walking into a few because he kind of ate a couple. But at the same time, Kape won that one. And of course, we had Kape going the distance. And that's how we do it. Now, a lot of people like Gomez beating Emil, right? But Hyder Emil was, over his last few fights, has just been super. And I know that he's 10-0, and you think you're going to a 10-0 over, a 12-2 guy. But his last fights, he's so active, and I just thought that being in Gomez's face the whole time would lead to the decision towards his way. Now, I did say as a bold pick that he would knock him out. There was plenty of chances. He missed them. He wasn't able to, to capitalize on them. Maybe he just held back. But no matter what, he stayed in Gomez's face the whole time and showed why he is definitely a problem in his division, right? So we got the picks right? But the methods, we got a couple methods wrong. And unfortunately, that's fine because the picks getting right was definitely in the positives, and also getting the picks, the knockouts that we did get right was great. So when you ask, hey, how did we do over the week? Well, this week's bold picks, of course, I had Johnson I had Johnson with going the distance, right? Johnson went the distance. Almeida was to go to the distance. Murskal was a TKO knockout. That was a miss, right? I had Ribovich over 80 points. Now, DK and FanDuel are both different. DK, he was 60, so 60 would have been that because on FanDuel, he got 89.9 or something like that. So he did hit his thing. Give me the one. And Brundage knockout. 4-1, 12-3 since we started. Now, I do want to also review my other lineups that I had because I want to make sure that I'm totally being upfront with all of you and when I'm doing this, because I'm not going to sit here and just say I'm not putting out. So honestly, I had 4 lineups and 3 of them was 1,140th, 1,700, 3,700. I doubled all my money back, 492 being the one, right? So this is the one I gave out, was Brundage, Murskal, Amel, Lee, Silva, Pinto, right? That was actually my best one. Actually, I think it was this one I gave out. Y'all could do it. It was Tiramov, Johnson, Brundage, Murskal, Amel, and Pinto. So I went with that fight too, right? And that's what kind of really helped out. And I mean, that fight with distance, and it kind of it didn't score overall like what I would thought it would have. But at the same time, if you were part of Dr. Roto, right? If you were part of Dr. Roto and you would have been in the subs only Discord, you would have got this lineup, right? And this lineup right here was, I had Murskal as the captain, right? Bam. Easy money right there. That was safe money, of course. But I had Almeida. Almeida was only 16.5% owned in the big FanDuel lineup, the $8 lineup for only 4,500. He was only 16% owned. That is really good. Again, this is what I'm doing for all of you. Brundage, of course, was 38% owned. But here, a lot of people were definitely listening to either this podcast or a lot of other podcasts are just liking the way that Hyder and Mill was being active, because for DFS wise, that's what you need. You need active people. You need those strikes coming in. Because win or lose, you can still get points from that. And if you get a day like yesterday where you had a lot of decisions, a lot of things, and only a few knockouts, unlike last week where there was a lot of knockouts, then that's kind of like, you're like picking and choosing and you got to pick your wins and losses there. And then you'll win money or lose money, but at the same time win money. And then with these ones, you're able to get points. So when I said Ribic, right, he was 48% owned in this league, that was... People were on him, and that's it. So the people that weren't on him weren't. But I got Kape at 39%. Now, that's the thing about UFC, and what I've noticed on the DFS side of things is that these percentages are a lot higher. So whereas like football, you would see a 24-20, you would consider that high. And then you would see like an 8 or 5 or 3%. You would consider that contrarian, kind of like all my lineups last year for fantasy football, DFS all year long. Yeah, that's how we put the pain. Ooh, yeah, when I'm ultra contrarian. But it just seems funny that I was able to flip sports like this and just take something that I haven't been into that often other than talking with my Fight Club of Pain at karate in the dojo over these years that I just stepped in 5 weeks ago, and I'm putting out quality just like all of the best in this industry. Now, that's because, of course, it comes back to me being a fighter, being able to understand it, having a club, being able to bounce ideas and go against each other at times. There's going to be times that yesterday, we're not going to get along. Like this week, we may not get along. We already got UFC 313 already planned out. Right? So you're definitely going to have to get into that. In 2 weeks from now, I am going to be at a tournament. So they're most likely, if there is even a Fight Club of Pain that week, there won't. I will definitely, that's why you have to get the Dr. Roto, use code word doc, so that you can get my 5 bold picks and use that to make your DFS lineups. And again, get in the subs only Discord. That's where my lineups and bets are. I'm totally sitting here right for you. Like I said, I felt pretty bad. I thought one of the guys came in and threw 30 down on Johnson winning. Hey, I thought Johnson was close. He was definitely active, but he just needed to be active a little more to get that decision. That happens, right? It's funny. So, yeah, that lineup right there was 577 points. Now, of course, that's not the top, but it was damn close to it. Taking all those positions and seeing what I was, trying to put out. So that lineup right there alone, took 538th, 166th, 38th, and 416th, and 674th out of every contest it was in. Literally put up like a little bit of money and won a lot more money back. And both sides of the betting were great. I did lose a little bit on the Barlow getting knocked out. Yo, Danny boy, get up, buddy. Anyway, he was playing around just a little bit, but he just moved to that one side, got knocked, and then when he went down, he was in a bad position and got the easy knock, got the extra punch in, and it was just over for him. And that was one of the, you could kind of say that was kind of an upset, but at the same time, coming back at it, when it happens, right? So he didn't really even get a lot of points, but I avoided that fight. I didn't like that fight. And if you would have saw that, and if you'd have been there, or you could have asked me that question, you would have got that. So, I stayed away from it, and for good reason, and it really helped me, right? Because I was bouncing around $300 of winnings, blah, blah, blah. In the end, it came out great. I still timed up my money on both sides, and that's all we're looking for, right? And I keep talking about this because that's what I'm trying to explain. That's the product we're putting out now at Dr. Roto, and that what the Fight Club of Pain stands behind, and what Heat Override stand behind at Bring the Pain is for all of you to do this. And I'm explaining to you the best I can that if you don't play betting or you don't play DFS, sometimes you're leaving yourself ass out, right? You got to think about getting back into it. You got to think about, I need just a little here and a little here, because DFS, you could get that big hit. And next thing you know, you throwing down $1 and you're winning $200, $300, $400, $500, or you're throwing down $5 and you're winning $1,000. And hey, maybe you hit 10 out of 16 bets, right? But those 10 out of 16 bets only really net you an extra $38, $40, maybe $100 extra. But to get that DFS hit for $5 to throw down and get $1,000, like these lineups are going, I wish I would have put some more in. Because if I would have been in the big one for the $3, the $3 one on DraftKings, if I would have been in that lineup that I gave out for free, would have definitely just slayed it. It would have been in the tops, and I would have won more money. And from the placing of a lot of the pricing that I've already looked at, that one is easily in the top 600, 700, 500, maybe even less, because a lot of people avoid the bigger contests sometimes, or they loot them up. But at the same time, when people go on different things in losses and big things, like when Barlow goes down, I have other lineups. The one lineup on DK that did not cash had Barlow in it. So that kind of just shows you right there. If I'm hitting 75% on DraftKings, and of course, last week I missed on DraftKings. Previous week, I hit on DraftKings. But I've hit on FanDuel each one of these weeks. Well, no, FanDuel, I hit big last week, and now I hit again. So I'm back to back. And when I hit on DK 2 weeks ago, I missed on FanDuel. So that's what I'm saying, is that sometimes in this slate, again, going back to the cancellations, became a little harder on DK. But I guess I made the right adjustments with those, and I felt really like I didn't want to do it, but I did it, and it worked out for me. And it worked out for all of you Painbringers and anybody that was a sub at this subs only Discord at Dr. Roto. We're looking forward to that. Again, show update, show everything. This is my podcast right here for the week. So if you get anything else for me, that's not going to be it. But I will be looking at UFC 313 on Saturday for the Fight Club of Pain. Again, you'll have to look. My 5 bold picks are coming out on Fridays at Dr. Roto. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep doing it, people. I am head in. When I tell you I'm the new sheriff, it's because I'm here to take things over. I'm here to make sure that all the people that have been doing this know that I can flip from football, come into your sport, and come stomping like Godzilla, bringing the pain to all the cities and the plays. Yeah! Woo! Have a great day, everybody! And may the fights be with you. The points be with you. The bets be with you. Yeah!
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.